Hello, my dear friends. Welcome back to Elena's Bar, Low Impact Full Body Workouts. We are today with Coco, our usual members at the Wives Club, and we have a guest speaker today. It's my mother-in-law, Kathy. Welcome to the club, Kathy. Today we are going to talk about the gender roles, the duties in the relationship, how traditional women should behave. I'm pretty sure that gender roles is a pretty red meat topic for traditional women. So we are going to have a lot of fun. And Kathy is going to tell us her experience. She raised 3 boys, one of which is my husband. And we are going to talk about the homeschool and other interesting things. So let's welcome here our community members. Accounting Ship, good to see you. Thank you so much for stopping by. It's always a pleasure to have you here. Okay, so let's dive in. Kathy, tell us a little bit about the family life, what it is, and what should women consider when they are thinking of getting married and having children?
Wow, that is a big question. I will do my best. The things to consider, I mean, you want to start with realistic expectations, I think, about what it means to be married. It's not just an individual, okay? You are joining up with another human who has maybe differing opinions about finances, about religion, about child rearing. Just are one of you more strict than the other? Do you want to have kids? Do both people want to have kids? Because really, raising kids is kind of a team sport. And so it's really hard to do, by yourself. And so I think single moms out there can attest to that, just how hard it is, particularly with newborns. So, think about the happy things, but also think about the what ifs in the sense of, okay, what if things don't go like I thought they would? Do I have, what am I going to do on that stuff? So really understand yourself and what your life goals are, what your expectations are, and the person you're going to marry doesn't match up.
Interesting. So what was your experience? Tell us a little bit about your story.
My story.
Yeah. How did both of you want to have kids, or it was just you who wanted them more? Because oftentimes women are the ones who are kind of pushing men to having children because of the hormones, maybe. How did it happen for you?
Well, I think we did talk about, what our life goals were. But also I want to say way back in the 80s, there was a different set of values and expectations, I think, that are out there today. It was expected that you would have kids. That was the natural progression of things. You went to school, you dated, you found your mate, and the expectation was to marry, have kids. So for us, it probably really didn't become a question. It was more about timing, because he was still a student. And so, but I did want to have kids. And so it's just kind of this, okay, when was the big question. And so I think I was probably more in the, I want to have kids now kind of thing. So, that was probably hormonal. So, just holding back. I mean, I mean, all things considered, we were young when we got married. I was 21. I had just turned 21. And so, I just kind of wanted to get the show on the road and just start, having those kids. So when the time came, I would say, and this is again back just my personal experience of, what my expectations were at that time. I probably, gosh, it's getting so hard to remember. My expectations were that he would be around more than what he was, but at that time, he's starting a business, and that took a lot of his time. That's not to say that he didn't help, because as I think about kind of a lot of what the differences are back then to today, we used to be, and this is, I don't want to sound too cliche, but in many respects, having a family, raising kids, it does and did take a village. And by that village, I mean way back, 40, 50 years ago, you had your mom, your grandma, your auntie, your sister. You had all of those people very close to you. And so they could pick up and help the new mom while the husband went out and plowed the field and went to work and, did all those things to provide for his family. And they also filled this emotional need that new mom has. And we just don't have that anymore. Just not, on the scale. In probably late 70s, we started to see the beginnings of the latchkey kid, with women going off to work. They're still children. And so they had to have a key to get into the house after school. And so these kids are really left on their own. And so there wasn't a whole lot of modeling about, okay, this is how a family works, what a mom should do. It started to go away in that realm. And so even though, I knew I was going to have kids, I can't say that I had a lot of role models. And then for me, I mean, I did with my mother-in-law. But as time has gone on, it has become less and less that we have relationships. Families are so scattered, and there's not a lot of people to talk to, support, encourage, answer questions, and all of those things that, a new mom would want to, have those questions answered. And so I think that has played a big part in kind of what we're seeing in these unmet expectations. And marriages are struggling, relationships are struggling, because they thought it was going to be all sunshine and roses, and their partner, their husband, was going to be there, and somebody still has to go to work.
Right. Now, and I see this tendency in women that if they don't get 100% of what they want, what they have been promised for their entire life, they're like, I don't want to bother with this man. I don't want to bother with this relationship. So the moment something challenging comes up in that relationship, they don't want to work through it. They immediately quit, and they prefer to be single.
Right. That's part of those unrealistic expectations being met or just happening. And also the lie that is told that you can have it all and you can do it well. That you can have, you can have your high-powered career, you can have the marriage, you can have the kids, and it's all going to be great. Something's got to give somewhere. And I'm talking about just for the average person. I mean, if you've got the bucks, you're going to start hiring people. But, if that's the case, if somebody else is going to be raising your kids, why did you have the kids?
Right.
There still is not that building of the family unit that comes through those struggles and through the hardships that young families might face. So yeah, I see it as the lies and the unrealistic expectations that have been told that have laid this foundation of, it's almost like predictable failure. And so then we have kids on their own, struggling families, not knowing what to do, where to go, how to find things. To that end, there are, we live in this society. The reality is that there are, single women families. Okay. And so even if, it still does take a village, that single mom has to find her support and be willing to do that. And that's the other aspect, because she's been told she can have it all. She doesn't want to seek help. She doesn't want to ask for help. And yet, the reality is we need, these new moms need help in some way. And, it's one of those things that I say in my classes. I teach childbirth prep classes. It's, people generally do want to help. They really do. And they say, oh, you need something, just give me a call. Okay. But do you call?
No.
We have this mentality of pulling ourselves up by our bootstraps and doing it all our own. When it comes to family, we gotta do things together. And then particularly with those, those new families. And I try to warn people and say, look, the first month is hard. It is hard. And you're sleep deprived, both mom and dad. Mom has gone through some incredible hormone changes. This is like the most drastic hormonal shift that you'll ever go through, and that includes menopause. Okay, so there's that. You're not sleeping, you're not eating. You have this new little human who needs so much of you. It's exhausting. And so, when we're talking about gender roles, particularly when it comes to raising children, that first month, the first couple of months, like I said, it's a team sport. And so really there does come a point where, the guys are going to have to change diapers. Okay. Because that new mom is so exhausted that he may need to take a bottle, feed the baby a bottle so she can get some sleep. Because motherhood is a 24/7 job. It is a 24/7 job. It is not, and it's not just the physical taking care of the baby. Women do tend to carry the majority of the emotional load. That we're the ones that worry. We're the ones that plan. We're the ones that organize. We're trying to get things in. We're trying to make this unit work. And so the guys do have to step up. It's in some practical ways. Yes, they're off working and doing their job. Okay, but when he comes home, it doesn't mean he gets to sit on the couch and play video games. Okay, there's still kids' baths. There's still, the communicating with your spouse, because I mean, that relationship has to be strong, and you have to be committed that you can get through this together. You're not being separate. And so, that I think was one of my early expectations, was that he was going to be there. Yes, he was starting a business and he was tired when he got home, but there was still stuff to be done.
Yeah.
And I needed to get some sleep. And, because I mean, there's a reason why sleep deprivation is a form of torture. Okay. And that's kind of what those first couple of months are, is you're sleep deprived. You can't think, you can't control your emotions, you can't make good decisions. Okay. So you got to work together. And so what I encourage my families to do is, we all hear about the birth plan. All right, we'll make a postpartum plan. Who's going to do what? Who's going to do what when? Where are the phone numbers? Baby care, planning meals, doing laundry, doing dishes. Okay. And this is going to be sort of a time period. It's not always going to be this way. The first, like I said, it's just like the first couple of months. And then as the baby starts to sleep more and you get more rested, you can then expand out and the roles will start to change. And then they can become, more traditional, as it were. And that's not to say, I mean, we think of the traditional roles of mom and dad takes out the trash and mows the lawn, and those, I kind of like mowing the lawn. Okay. So
well, you're also taking care of the animals. You're doing a lot of physical work.
Yeah, this is now, I'm thinking about when the boys were little, and it's like I wouldn't mind going outside and mowing the lawn, just to get a break. But it's, you fall into these various, roles that in many cases work. But that's where that communication, you got to talk about it. And so that's why I say, before the baby comes, what are you doing? Are you going to, is the mom going to go back to work? Okay, how is that going to look? Who's going to, childcare? Who's going to be doing the feedings? I mean, because that all continues on for the first year. And for, by the time a baby is 6 months old, on average, there's probably only 20% who are sleeping through the night. There's another 80% that are still getting up and they've gone back to work. Okay, so you still have to work things out. But, I would say give yourself a couple of years. But then you start to add in another child or another child. It really, in the larger scheme of things, it's just but a small window of time that things are this hard. So it can make your relationship stronger, but it can stress it if you don't have those expectations in place, talked about. You've got that postpartum plan of what your family life is going to look like. So plan ahead for that.
Yeah. Having kids is no joke. It's like, it's really, and I see a lot of modern couples, they're comfortable to be married. They are comfortable with each other, but they are not in a hurry to have children. And maybe it's because they realize how much work kids actually are. And if you look at what happens in our society today, it's just crazy. I mean, if you choose to have kids, you have to also realize that maybe putting them through public school is not a great idea. And you
right. But I
Right,
also think
Coco?
the modern people today, I think that they're too selfish, and that's why they're not in a rush to have kids.
Yes.
They, it's about me.
Mhm.
Even if they're in the marriage, like, oh, they're selfish. Like, I don't want to have to be worrying about like not getting what I want to get done or what I want to do, or if I want to do something with my husband or with myself. It's like, it's to me, it's mind blowing. Like, I really do wish that I could have kids. It sucks that I can't. I would love to have kids. I mean, when I was little, of course, I thought like, I don't really think I want to have kids. But that's because my mom used to help a lot of kids that were abused. So like we would take them in, and I was helping her and always being with the kids and helping with the kids. So I was just like, God, I feel like I'm raising kids too. And I'm only like 16,
Yeah.
but it was like, my parents, being good parents, like that they were, and they loved kids, they wanted to have 6, but they couldn't. So like, they're like, why not, bring somebody in here that should be loved. Kids should be loved. And so, at that point in my life, I was like, I don't think that I want kids, but then as I got older, it was crazy. It was my turnaround was when I found out that I couldn't have kids, because I contemplated going back and forth. And I was like, because my sister has 3, and I was just like, just love hanging out with them all the time. And I love spending time with them. And I like seeing all their cute little pictures and all little stuff they do. And then I see babies on the street and I'm like, oh my God. So I'm like, I get baby fever from time to time. I would. But then it was when I was told that I couldn't have a baby is when I was just like, man, now I really want one.
Now that is correct. That is so correct. I think when we look at a lot of the young people, particularly the young women, it's that, there's I don't want to give up this life that I have. I want to be able to travel. I want to be able to buy the things I want. I want my schedule. I don't want to be on a baby schedule. And so there's not a willingness to just say, okay, for the betterment of society, I'll put that aside, and, do my best to raise a, functioning human who's an asset to society. But yeah, they don't want to give it up. And so I don't have the statistics, but I think we're kind of on, our population is on going downhill. We're not at replacement value anymore. And that, I mean, we can look at other countries around the world who have a serious problem with their population economically, because there's not a generation coming up to take care of the older, to put money into the society to pay for programs that would take care of these elderly people. And so it's not a good thing that folks are saying, no, I just want to buy all my video games that I want. I don't want to make the sacrifices. And that's what it is. You are making this sacrifice for, a number of years, for this, for this human or human beings, or, how many you have. But I think, it's part of, from a biblical perspective, it's you dying to yourself. When you become a Christian, you die to yourself to do, and that means you're dying to whatever it is you want to do, your desires, your this, whatever. And, it's the same thing with becoming a parent. You have to die to yourself and your desires and sacrifice to be able to raise this human being. So it's not surprising, that our numbers are going down.
That's because people are, I want to, like you said, I want to play video games and I want to still stay up till 3 a.m. and I want to sleep until noon, you know, and I can do and play my Twitch or, whatever it is, and play my gaming online and make money that way. I can't do that if I have a kid, and then
Right.
I don't want to get rid of my fancy car. I want a sports car. I don't have to worry about getting an SUV or a minivan or like, it's like you said, when you have kids, it is all about sacrifice. I saw a lot of the sacrifices my parents made for us. And, it's something that is like, you have to do. You have this little human being that literally depends on you for everything. And that's a huge weight. Like, I would ask mom, I would ask my sister, I was like, how do you guys do that? Like because I haven't had a baby yet. I was like, I can't even fathom like the kind of weight that it is. Cause I know what it's like, to have a husband that depends on me for things that I'm supposed to do for my duties. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
That even stresses me. I was like, okay, is the house like clean? This is all the drawers all pushed in, so like, I'm trying to like, I have my own little stress level with it. Does he have enough food in the fridge? Like,
right.
To have like a little human being that depends on you for absolutely everything. And then there's a period of time where they can't even properly communicate.
Yep.
And that's even more stressful because you're like, what do you need? And so like,
Exactly.
I can't, but people don't want to have that kind of sacrifice anymore. They want to be able to live their own lifestyle the way that they want to without having to be like, I have to sacrifice this and that.
Well, and I wonder too if there isn't an aspect back to, I don't have anybody I can't see to do it because I don't have a support network. I don't have a support system around me. And so
that's true. You made a really good point when you about the the mothers and stuff like that and the grandma. You're 100% correct because my mom had that when she had my sister. My mom and my dad moved in with my grandma and my grandpa so that way they could get started. And my dad, got a different job and he was working on his career for that. And then my grandma and my great grandma were both there helping my mom because that's what women did. You're absolutely right. Women, mothers and grandparents and stuff like that, they would literally help you because they went through it and they helped you to teach you tools of the trades to raise the kids and to give you a break because they've been there.
Yeah.
People don't have it anymore.
No, they don't. And that's exactly what we had. We were living in a basement apartment. My husband's parents were upstairs. Okay. Mm-hmm. So if baby's crying, I could just walk up the stairs and say, here,
please help me.
So, and that does truly make a difference. So, what do we do? For the millions of people that don't have that, because these families are so scattered. And so, all I can say is there are resources. You just have to, moms groups, postpartum doulas, just being willing to seek out other people, other moms, and just really be open to having.
Don't put your kiddo on social media and ask for help. I mean, this is another thing I see.
Really?
Have children. Oh yes. There are quite a few examples out there. They want to have party. They want to have fun. And they use social media. It feels to me, and I analyze content, I see how kids are being used on social media to get more likes and more validation for the single mothers, especially. The mothers who are traditional and they preserve the traditional gender roles, They rely on grandmas, they rely on aunties, they rely more like on sisters, on their small community, right?
Right.
But the ones who don't have that, they almost like are proud of doing everything by themselves. But then they're using social media and they present their kids as, here is my small accessory, give me likes. A lot of them write on in the description of their channel or on their profile, I'm a mother of 3, I'm a mother of 5, so be proud of me. And then she automatically gets a lot of likes. People follow her because everyone respects mothers, and it almost became like a inauthentic attempt to get more likes and more social proof for yourself. And then you expose your kids. I notice how mothers are putting every single picture of their kids from the age they were born, how they poop, how they eat, everything. And it honestly frustrates me because it's like, why did you get a kid? So that you could get more likes, more validation for yourself through your child, or so that you would be a mother for this child. You would raise this child so that he would become a valuable member of our society.
There are moms that actually coach their kids and like to what to say and how to act and what to do to be funny or whatever in order for them to actually get more likes and views because it's more comical. And I'm like, really? You could be doing something more productive with your kid instead of coaching your kid on how to say this funny and how to act it out.
Yeah.
Just kind of makes me, what social ill is happening that is a desire, that what is it about these women that they have this need to be uplifted? I mean, it could be anything, not just their kids, but the kids are just there as that tool at that time. So is this just, postulating the question, thinking out loud, is this one of the side effects, one of the consequences of the latchkey generation? That because they didn't have 2 parents with them, supporting them and their psyche and, building them up, encouraging them when they were down, that now they have to get that sense of belonging, of a sense of that they're okay, that they're likable by putting their kids out there. And that is such, I can't imagine,
I think this comes down to what Rollo has been talking about. Rollo Tomasi, he was saying it's all about solipsism, self-centeredness. We've raised the generation of narcissistic women who are only concerned about themselves. They even use their kids to get what they want, to extract resources from their husbands to begin with. So that, okay, they marry, they pop up a few kids, and then once they are done with the guy, something doesn't go well there because of their delusional expectations, unrealistic expectations, the one that you've been talking about, right? And they immediately want to ditch this guy, take the kids, because they know that the government would support them, take the alimony and child support, use it for their own benefit, and put the kid to work on social media so that they could get more likes and more dopamine hit for themselves. No, literally, this is how I've been viewing it, and I've been analyzing content. I have a lot of examples where they dress up these cute girls. They teach them how to be a feminist from 6 years old. And this girl, she doesn't know any better. She will become a feminist one day because who is teaching her? Or her feminist mother out there. Do you think she will be a marriageable material later on? No, she's already entitled at 6 years old. And this is what these little girls learn from their mother.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. It's frustrating to see what people are doing, what women are doing.
Social media just in general is just destroying the whole family dynamic.
Oh, yeah.
It plays a big role in destroying the family dynamic in the traditional family. because everything is out there. Everything for feminism is out there. Everything that is for simps are out there. Everything for, like you guys said, self-centeredness, like they want that self-idolization where they want everybody to like them. Everybody's clout chasing. The just the amount of thoughterry that's out there everywhere, just in general, makes it extremely difficult for people just to have a healthy relationship. And that can play a role in it too, because women sometimes are now afraid to actually have kids because they don't want it to change their body because of the amount of exposure that are of women sexualizing themselves on social media that they don't want, that their husband's already exposed to, but they're like, like work out, I take care of myself, but I have a baby. Now I have to worry about, I know my body's going to change. It's not going to be perfect. Now I have to worry about like, okay, is he going to desire that more? Is he going to start looking at that stuff? Because now my body's going to be changed from having a baby. Like it's ruined everything. Like that imagery of social media has caused a fear in some women as far as like worrying about how they're going to look and what's going to happen in their relationship if they do, because of what is considered a standard.
Exactly.
As you said, I think that would go under a category of unrealistic expectations. It's completely unrealistic to expect your wife's body to not change 1 ounce after she has carried a baby 2, 3, or 4, or 5.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And so, it's the unrealistic expectations go both ways.
Yeah.
So
men have them too. I recently watched a couple of videos by guys, and there is some truth to that. The problem is that they usually accentuate how unrealistic men are. If we are talking about certain groups of people who are appealing to a big number of women out there, and they are saying that, men have very unrealistic expectations because they want the legacy, they want you to take care of all sorts of things, they want you to cook, to clean, they want you to look nice so that you are nice and pleasurable to be around with. They don't want you to bitch, they don't want you to moan. They want you to keep going with all of the house chores and do everything. And these are usually the men who want an equal partner. This is where I'm leading towards, you guys. Okay. Because usually if a man tells, for example, Coco, if a man tells you, I would love to have an equal partner, would you consider this man?
I would be like, what do you consider an equal partnership? And if he was like, well, that means like I pay half, you pay half. I've been there.
You don't want that.
I don't want it because when I'm like, wait a minute, because in those situations, I also got taken advantage of because I was still doing everything as far as like the woman duties to do and paying my 2 pounds of flesh for all the bills and for everything too. And I was like, wait a minute, like, I don't quite understand this. Like, is this like a permanent thing? Or is this like a temporary thing? Like until we figure out where this goes? Like, absolutely not. I would not want an equal partnership. Yeah. Because when you have an equal partnership, there's constantly gonna be a struggle for who is going to have the final say, who is going to be the person that says, this is it. Like, there's no sense of hierarchy.
Right.
At some point, you're going to just constantly be fighting for power the entire time.
Yep. And, I've just a couple of thoughts to that. Here again, I think for some of these young men, they haven't had male role models on how to be a man. And I think there's also this incorrect assumption that if there is a hierarchy where it's a patriarchy, the guy at the top, that the woman is oppressed in some way. And that is not, how it's to go. Okay. So, biblically, we have the um, the idea, what is it? John 3:16, wives submit to your husbands, right? Okay, so that's the oppression. That's the evil oppression. But what is said and stated beyond that is husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. And that church, Christ loved the church sacrificially. And so that is what it's supposed to be. And one of the things that, I've thought about this, it's like, when you're talking about when it's equal, okay, who gets the final say, right? You're not agreeing. Who gets the final say? And okay, that's the husband. And I can say, it's like I can put forth my reasonings, my ideas, my opinions. And if he still says, no, we're going this direction, okay, fine, have at it. Results are on you. Okay.
Right, because he bears the ultimate responsibility for the choices that he makes. And you give him to a feminist, right? To a feminist mind, women would have to give their husbands the authority, right? But for truly traditional women, it just comes as second nature. Okay, and a man says, a man decides, fine. I'm just a woman here, right? I'm the follower. And if you look at the hierarchy, I think Glenn Lawrence, Mr. Producer, really broke it down well in one of his videos, where a woman, when she needs help, she has to go to a man. Oh, Coco, I think it was you in our prior videos, you were talking about it. And then when a man needs help, he would go to the God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and what I noticed today, these traditional women who call themselves traditional, they want to skip men. They want to go directly to God, thinking that just because they skip a man, God might approve of what they are doing. And there was a post, I don't know if you saw that post, a very promiscuous woman in an underwear.
It depends on the content, though, because technically God is the center of the foundation of your entire marriage. So you both go to God. You both are supposed to go to God. I don't always have to go to my husband. I'm supposed to go to my husband if I have a problem with something that hopefully he can help and guide me through. But that doesn't mean that I go to him for everything, because there are some things that you just need to go to God for, because God has to work his miracles. God needs to do his will in your life and in whatever it is that you got to do. So there is a difference as far as that. But there, I think Rolo and everybody else in this space has said something that is very true. Like, yes, traditional women are normally, it's in our nature to be, naturally submissive and doting and accommodating and things like that. But it has to be for the man that that you can trust to lead your family that way, because a woman can do that. I did that with my ex-husband. I automatically gave him that because that's how I was raised. But over the years and over 13 years of him showing that, okay, I cannot trust you. You have consistently shown me that I cannot trust you, that you cannot expect a woman to just be that way with a man that she cannot trust.
Exactly. Yeah. Men need to lead in a way that their wife will follow. That's
without it being the whole putting them on the pedestal, because exactly. I think you both are supposed to hold each other to such a higher standard, but not like unrealistic expectations. But the fact is like, I value this person and what they provide and bring into my life so much that I want to make sure that I do everything that I can to make sure that I'm giving them the best life that they can have and that we can have together. Like, that should be the goal. It's not like, I'm valued more than you because I'm, like, again, we as women are taken from Adam's rib. So in that aspect, we are one. That makes us equal in that aspect as far as our value. Our value to each other is equal, but there is a hierarchy.
Exactly.
Okay, we have a few comments. Let's check here. Elena's mother-in-law is here to teach you how to be a perfect wife to Johnny. We have younger women joining us, Kathy. So
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good lesson for you ladies if you are showing up here. Yeah.
But I don't think there's is such a thing. There's no perfect human being, you know.
Oh, yeah. Nobody's perfect.
No.
But you're
So,
supposed to be able to complement each other
mhm.
in the best possible way that you can. You know, that's all that it is. You're supposed to know your partner also so well that you know their struggle areas and you know like their weaknesses and their strengths. And when they do something, or like if you see that they're going to go do something, like, you know what, I'll do that for you, because you know that that's not
Yeah.
a strength they have, because you don't want them to fail. You know, like you want
Right.
them to be successful. Like, you know what? I don't need you to be that stressed out, because then that kind of affects me. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that for you. Is
Right.
that okay? Like that is showing love, you know? So you're supposed to have, again, nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. Like
Yeah.
I am not perfect, but you know what? I've always believed this saying that I heard, like, nobody's perfect, but you strive for perfection. Because if you're constantly striving for perfection, you know you're never going to achieve it, but then you're constantly doing something to make sure you are the best version of yourself.
Right.
Yeah, and it requires the right person to be with you to show you the mirror sometimes, because if you misbehave, like that girl that I was trying to bring up, you've probably seen her, Coco. She was saying only God can judge me, and she's exposing herself naked on
Oh yeah,
social
yeah,
media.
yeah.
You know that one, right? And
Yeah.
then
I was like,
and God says his verdict: "You are a whore." Like, what did she expect God to tell her? That it almost I noticed that women are doing it. They are trying to bypass a man. And I agree with you what you mentioned before, but I think that when we are talking about feminists out there, they are missing so much on just how to be a traditionally raised woman. They are missing on a lot of knowledge out there, and also they call themselves traditional, but they don't appreciate men. They don't respect men. Okay, and then she was saying only God can judge me. What did she expect? God would say something else that the other man would tell her? I mean, come on, it's just common sense, right? You expose yourself semi-naked on social media, you are a whore, right? You are a promiscuous woman. There is no way around it. And if you expect God to say something else to you, I see that there is this it's delusion. You know, it's something that women think that they can, if they get a direct reach to Jesus, especially, and they prioritize Jesus over their husbands, over their relationships, there is something wrong in there.
Well, I think too, I mean, that woman that you're talking about, just she doesn't quite have a true grasp of what scripture says on such things. I mean, that's a whole nother discussion, on modesty that we could have. And I think it's just her way of justifying her behavior. That's what, so many of the generation, they have to do. I think on some deep innate level, they really know that
Oh yeah.
what they're doing is wrong, but that this is, they've got to feel good about themselves, and so this is how they've chosen to do it. Not very helpful.
no, I think they're wanting to say that because they know that they're going to get some haters. So they're hoping that them making the comment of like only God can judge me will prohibit them from even wanting to try. But at
Yeah.
the same time, it's like, yes, God judges the heart of us. You know, like we have to prove to God that we're walking with faith. So you say that you're only God can judge me. Yes. And right now he is judging your actions and your heart of your actions. And knows, he knows the true meaning of whatever it is that you meant by that comment, whether
Yeah.
you're really walking in faith or you're just using that as a screen to kill the haters, being like, don't judge me because only God can. Okay.
That's the same, it kind of goes in the same basket as the phrase, well, God told me to do this.
Oh, yeah, that's another one that, yeah, I saw.
Like,
There was one OnlyFans girl. She was saying, I'm fulfilling the mission that God told me to do. Okay, you are selling the sexual pleasures to men because God told you that? Come on.
which
Does she not
God
also
are
know
we
that the devil
talking
has this? Yeah. Does she not also know that the devil does disguise himself to be
Yep.
like God when he talks to people? It's
Mhm.
like, if that's in the Bible, that there is like, about the sexual immorality, about that stuff and promiscuity, then why would God tell you to do something that he severely frowns upon in the Bible?
Right.
I think you need to check your resources a little bit more.
Right. Go read the Bible. If you are referring to God, go read the Bible. No, they only want to pick the fragments that just confirmation bias, that
Yeah.
or find somebody, a content creator on social media who confirms their belief system.
Yep.
And they have been brainwashed so much that good luck convincing them otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
India's making me
A dog
laugh.
here.
He's like, feed me now. I'm starving.
Ah, Indy. You know what? He's confused because it started to get dark sooner.
Yes.
Dexter, the first time it happened, he was like at like 4, and I'm like, dude, it's not time yet. You still got another hour. But it's like, it was supposed to be 5, but it went back. He's like, and I'm just like, dude.
Yeah, they're so funny. They don't care. And
No.
he starts asking for food like a few hours before, right? Because it's dark, Indy. Yeah.
Yes, I had to start weaning him a little bit. So like, I'll give you a little just to settle your stomach until I can get you back on the 5:30 time frame. So I was like, oh my gosh, okay, I'll give you a little bit right now so that way you're not sitting here starving. You think I'm a bad mom.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I remember Glenn once said that most women today, I'm going to quote him, most women today don't know what being a traditional woman is. Although they think they are traditional women, they actually are not. They are feminists that pray and think high body count is bad.
That's it. Okay.
That's
a high
so
body
true.
count?
That's so true. Look, although they think they are traditional, and you see a lot of feminist women out there, they don't call themselves feminists, but they follow each one of the proclamations of feminism. They are self-centered. They can do everything by themselves. They have unrealistic expectations because it's based on their delusional sexual market value. And they think they call themselves traditional women. They think that they are traditional, but they are actually not. They are feminists that pray and think that high body count is bad. High body count, it means how many sexual partners a woman has. So they can sleep, and there is this phenomenon of second virginity concept when a woman slept around with a lot of men, and then she realizes, usually somewhere in her epiphany phase, around 30 years old, that she needs to settle down, and then she calls herself, "Oh, I'm a virgin. I haven't for a few months. I didn't sleep around. Right? The rest of the guys that she slept with don't count anymore in her mind, But yeah, she believes that she's ready to settle down, and therefore this is the second virginity for her. And then yeah, she she just believes suddenly that she becomes this traditional religious woman who is ready to settle. But her mindset and everything she has done throughout her life speaks otherwise. You can't undo the body count.
Yeah, you cannot.
That's one of the things I remember way back when my high school health class is that, I mean, this was public school back when you could talk about these things. It was, really when you have sex with a person who's had sex with another person, you end up having sex with all of them and those partners and those partners. I mean, that's just kind of the way the human body works, because there is a chemical change that does happen in that process, and so it just kind of grossed me out that I didn't want to have sex with 50 different people.
Oh, yeah.
My mom told me the exact same thing. That's what my mom used to tell me. That's why I waited till I was engaged, because she was like, if they're sleeping around, you don't know what they caught. And you're sleeping with all those other people. And I'm like, ew. That's gross.
Yep. Mom said the same thing, Kathy. Dad doesn't believe in that, not surprisingly. Yeah, ladies, if you sleep around a lot, you are carrying all of the DNAs, not of just the men that you sleep with, but also the girlfriends, the women that they've slept with. So it's going to be, somebody made a post, and it's going to be over 13,000, I think, DNAs floating in your body if you have multiple sexual partners. And the studies have shown that after about 4 or 5 partners, your ability to pair bond with the man and commit to one man significantly reduces.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Let's check. Good. Well, I think we had a very good, productive conversation here with the licensed doula. Thank you, Kathy, so much. I hope that it's not the first and not the last time that we have you here. You have a lot of wisdom to share with us and with the younger generation, I think. And I think it was very interesting and educational. So thank you. Thank you so much.
It was so great talking with you, Kathy. Like, it's so funny that we're doing something similar to this, because I'm actually going to be doing one with my mom, and I want to talk to her about about lasting marriages. Like, what to you, like, what is the difference in relationships today in marriages, and why is it that relationships back then? What are things that you really truly believe that contribute to a success in a marriage that we don't have now? Mm-hmm. And she was like, her and I were talking about, I was like, oh, this is going to be good.
When are you going to do it, Coco?
I'm probably going to do that in about 2 weeks.
Cool. Yeah.
It's going to be good. I like the stuff that she was telling me, and I was like, not. She was like, nope, there's a whole bunch of different dynamics as from when I got married to now, and when my parents got married. It's completely changed. I can't wait for that. Yes. So I would love to have Kathy back on here again to talk about some stuff like this. Like, that'd be fun.
Kathy, whenever you have time, okay? Whenever you would like to join us. We're usually doing it on Wednesdays. We try to keep it somewhat consistent at 5:15 in the evening. So you just text me, tell me, oh, I have this topic. We can talk about this. And then educate us, because I think this is the knowledge that a lot of young women are missing today, because it hasn't been passed on. You see, because I've been analyzing content, and I see a lot of older women. They are very entitled. They are very self-absorbed and self-focused. So they kind of stopped sharing their experience, or if they share it, it's going to be more about, how you can milk this man and get what you want and ditch them and remarry.
Starter husbands.
Right.
That nasty crap. Can't stand it.
Yeah. This is what I see on social media for the most part. There is no good content out there. There are a few content creators that I follow, and you guys know them. I try to invite them here. Yeah, we try to unite, but there is a lot of crap out there that you have to really censor and apply critical thinking skills. Join us for Saturday's discussions with elenasbarre teachers community. No classes tomorrow on Friday. I'm taking a small break, guys. Okay, I'll see you all next week. And yeah, go follow Coco. She's in the description box. I'll also add Kathy's Instagram account in case you need her advice and consultation. You'll probably be able to schedule it with her. Okay, the links will be in the description box. Okay.
All right. I've got animals to go feed.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, ladies. I love what we are doing. I think it's very beneficial. Please, guys who are watching, like, share, and subscribe, and share your comments with us. Okay. I'll see you soon. And take care. Take us out. Bye.
Bye.